Need my glasses here. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting, April 9th, 2019. I'd like to take a motion to close the executive session where we discuss legal matters and open the public meeting. Motion? Trustee Rosillo, second Trustee Nell. All in favor? Unanimous. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trustee Rosillo was going to say the prayer, but I asked him if I could do it. We had a loss of a friend of Dobbs Ferry, a good friend, Kevin Morgan, who was a trustee in the town of Greenburgh, a police officer, detective, lieutenant on the police force, really involved in the community, 3 children, a couple of grandchildren, involved in sports and recreation activities. And he became a very good friend of ours over the years. Kevin passed away last week after a short illness. He will be sorely missed. He was a real asset to our community. So if you just join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay. Let me just announce 2 things quickly. One is everybody is anxious about the pool, and the shovels went in the ground this week, so that's great news for the village. So a lot of people called, the heavy equipment's there, and we ask you to be cautious over at Gould Park. But we're still on schedule to finish the pool July 1st for camp. So we'll keep pushing forward with that. We have a few presentations tonight. One is from the Spring Community Partners. Robin, are you all set? Thank you for coming, and you brought your team with you. I met with the Spring team a couple of weeks ago, and we had a great conversation. They do so many great things for the village and helping less fortunate people that can't take advantage of some of the programs that we have in the camp, for instance, and in the recreation department. So they do some really wonderful things, and Robin is here to talk about it. Robin Larkins, thank you.
My name is Robin Larkins, and I have the privilege of serving as the co-chair of Spring Community Partners. Spring has been in existence since 2009, but it existed long before the kind actions and the efforts of those in the community who always looked out to support others in need. Spring began with several teachers and parents in Dobbs Ferry who saw that children didn't have winter coats to wear all the time, didn't have snacks to eat during the school day. So through those efforts, Spring became more of a formalized and sustainable organization in 2009 and became an official not-for-profit in 2010. So we carry the tradition of those who came before us with a long history of helping those in need in Dobbs Ferry. So we continue that now. So one of our founding principles was kind of that if we show and extend help to others, and especially those who are in our community who are children, then those roots will take hold, and those children can grow and spring up and make new trees, if you will. So the whole idea of Spring essentially is to create some roots so that our children can grow and develop and become very active and participating members in our community. It also didn't hurt that Springhurst was grow children's full and active participation in the life of school and community, regardless of needs. I think we tend to always think of them, you know, as others who might have less than we do, but sometimes we become them. And the efforts of Spring extend to any child in need. And the organization is nimble enough to respond to any request that comes to us. And we've made we've taken a lot of pride in that over the years. So remember, at the time that Spring officially became an organization was at the time of the recession. And we encountered many families in Dobbs Ferry that underwent different events that caused them maybe not to be able to participate in the way that they typically might have. So we always remind ourselves of that. Sometimes we tend to have an us-them way of looking at things, but many times we become them. Let me go back. Sorry. Okay. Spring has a robust board of directors and involved executive committee members. Many of our board members have been around for multiple terms or multiple years. And it's a very active board who's very hands-on. Several of our executive committee and board of directors are here tonight, and their participation doesn't just amount to coming to the 3 meetings that the organization has per year, but comes through their hours and hours of participation throughout the year. So I'd like to acknowledge our board members who are here. I'd like to acknowledge, if you could maybe stand up, if you're a board member tonight. We really appreciate all the efforts that you do behind the scenes throughout the year. Spring Community Partners. We are a partnership organization. We exist so that we can make connections and so that others can step up and assist us in our mission of serving all these children in Dobbs Ferry. And this is just a partial list of organizations, individuals that are very involved with us in one way or another over the course of the year. There's most of the commercial establishments in Dobbs Ferry, many organizations as well provide assistance. All of the sports organizations work with us to make sure that every child who would like to participate can find a way to do so. So what are the programs of Spring? We have about 14 active programs a year, and Spring is an all-volunteer organization. So the behind-the-scenes work of Spring is done by those who we just clapped for over there, and working very closely with the families that we serve. It really, truly is a partnership. I'm just going to run through a listing of our programs. Clothing Boutique. Every year, twice a year, we have a robust collection of clothing, shoes, equipment, different things, and we set up a boutique where families can come and shop for what they need. Our next boutique is May 11th at South Presbyterian Church. They offer us the use of their fellowship hall. And we have a very large group of volunteers that make that happen and make it a very special event for our families. We have an early literacy program. We spearheaded and founded an early literacy program at Springhurst that Springhurst adopted as their own and took over this past year. We also promote homework help through partnering with the Homework Center at Cabrini Immigrant Services to help support the needs of children requiring assistance, especially children who come from families where English may not be the first language spoken in the household. Enrichment. Spring works with the Dobbs Ferry Recreation Department and other local organizations to fund student participation in after-school programs, enrichment, STEM and STEAM programming, anything that's offered. We try to make way for scholarship students. When the Dobbs Ferry PTSA started their after-school program, certain slots of that program are allocated for scholarship students, and they help support that effort as well, so that enrichment doesn't become something that only those who can afford it can access. So it's very important that participation really is very important, especially in these activities that stimulate the thinking of the students that we work with. Food support. Again, if a child is hungry, how much concentration can happen out at school anymore? So Spring helps local families meet their food needs, and we do this in partnership. We are a co-founder of free and reduced lunch doesn't happen when there's a school break or over the summer. We partner with the local not-for-profit Family to Families, and each year at all of the schools, our Kids Can food drives also help to supply the food pantry. So again, truly a collaborative and partnership effort. When we started Spring, there were 7 families that required extra assistant monthly just to feed their families. Right now, our list is at 40 families. So again, as the programs become more known and people know that they can request help, that happens. But we do, some of our neighbors are really struggling, especially towards the end of the month when they're trying to feed their families. Help a Child. We call it Help a Child 2.0 because it's the next iteration of this program. This is a program where we match sponsors when there's particular needs in families. And those sponsors help provide clothing, sports equipment, any request that doesn't fall into one of our other programs. Help a Child 2.0 helps to we have some very faithful volunteers that have really helped and worked with the needs of our families to make sure that no one has to go without. High school support. Test prep. We found out that many of our Spring family kids weren't getting that extra help to take the SATs. So several years ago, we worked in partnership with the PTSA tech and with the test prep company to make sure that if a family couldn't afford to pay, that there was some assistance for them to do so. So again, very important time in the life of a student, and if you can't afford to prep for the test, you're going to be at a disadvantage from some of the other members of the community who can. So that's one of our high school programs. Prom, yearbook, senior year things. Again, we work very closely with school personnel and the social workers at each of the schools so that if there is a need and if there's a way that we can help support that we discuss it and try to find resolution. Musical Muses is a wonderful program that really is one of the heart of Spring programs because it encourages music participation. How often, was it in the past where if a family couldn't afford the rental for the instrument, that a child can play an instrument? So for example, this year alone, we have over 34 musical instruments and child musicians and hopefully some prodigies out there that are making music in all the Dobbs Ferry schools. Nursery school scholarships, again, that early intervention, the importance of supporting children at that early stage. We work with all of our local nursery schools and preschools to provide assistance so that all children can have an opportunity to experience preschool. At one of the school board meetings last year, they informed us that in 2017 was the first year that every child who entered kindergarten had some sort of preschool, and they acknowledged that was partly due to the fact that Spring was providing the support. School supplies. School supplies is a major area where at the beginning of Spring we were collecting things and making up backpacks and whatever, and then the school district went computerized. And so with an effort with the PTSA and with some very, very committed volunteers, any child, any parent who needs to request school supplies for their child can do so through Spring. This is our largest program where support is requested, and it's a program where, because of the way that school supplies are ordered, that no child is separated out because they don't have supplies, because the boxes get delivered right to their desks on the first day of school. So this past year alone, we supported 142 children in obtaining school supplies and helped those families out. Senior awards. As Spring has evolved, because we're now in our 11th year, we wanted to, about 3 or 4 years into Spring, we wanted to acknowledge seniors who were moving on and needed some type of award. And so we decided to create 2 awards. One is for service, because we want to encourage the same type of volunteerism as we find with our volunteers within the younger generation. And the other award is for students who have financial need that plan to further their education. So we offer these 2 types of awards at the award night, and it's a way to fundraising event during the Years of Square Dance. And this has been a tradition in Dobbs Ferry for many, many years. We took this over from the Dobbs Ferry Teachers Union, who sponsored it in years past, and this became a source of initial funding for Spring and a way to continue building relationships and doing a friend and fundraiser at Springhurst. It's a very fun event. Mayor Bob was there last year, and it's again it's a wonderful coming together. And snack berries, which takes us back to our beginnings. When kids didn't have snacks, so how do we make sure that all kids have snacks? Well, we have a dedicated core of volunteers that either will deliver snacks to the nurses' offices or order them over Amazon now and make sure that all the kids have some type of healthy snack to have during the course of the school day. Sports, like I said before, we work in partnership with every sports organization in Dobbs Ferry to make sure that kids don't have barriers to participate, whether it's for registration fees or the other things that occur, for example, filling out registration forms and other things. So while this may not be a high monetary item on our budget, it's definitely a high participation element. So when children can participate in sports and play soccer and football and basketball and cheer, you know, we have Spring kids in every single sport in Dobbs Ferry, and we're very proud of that ability of all of our kids to participate if they want. And summer camp. Summer camp, again, this predates the existence of Spring. Members of this community have always looked out for the kids in our community. The Dobbs Ferry Recreation Department and the village have always been extremely cognizant of the fact that not everyone can afford the cost of summer camp. We've become more formalized in our efforts. It's one of our largest programs, and it's certainly the largest budget item that we have. We provide funding for children to attend the village day camp, as well as the sports activities that go on in the summer, other types of arts and enrichment camps as well. You know, if we have the budget available, we try to help kids participate. Because remember, for many of our children, this is their summer. You know, so an experience of camp is what they're going to take away as their memories of the summer. It may not be a trip to some place far abroad, or maybe a trip that they took with their fellow campers, but it's a very important program for participation, and it's one that we're going to talk about in more detail. So I know this is I can just walk through participant by program. So as you can see, school supplies, as I said, is our #1 program that people participate in. The clothing boutiques and food distributions, again, satisfying basic needs. And then we have the summer camps, the enrichment programs, the snacks, the sports, and all the other types of things that Spring supports. This year we have our largest number of children that we're supporting, a total of 186 of Dobbs Ferry children. By program costs, a lot of times we get very generous donations in kind, again, like through the sports organizations or our clothing boutique. Sometimes the enrichment programs offer us very generous scholarships. In terms of the nursery schools, offer us a very nice package in terms of our providing some financial support. And if they have room, they always open their doors to us. So, but as you can see, the summer camp number is the largest number of our budget. So our annual costs to run Spring, monetary costs, that's not including time or in kind, is about $70,000 a year. So the challenge that we that kind of stirred us to, a lot of times we have a board that very much is a doing board. So we don't take time to pause and tell our story that often, because a lot of times all of our volunteers are basically doing and working with our families. But we need to poke our head up because we have some challenges that have been increasing that we need to bring to the attention of the greater community we serve. So our requests for summer camp have increased 30% over the past 5 years. We've sent over 280 children to the Dobbs Ferry summer camps. And last year, 30% of all Dobbsbury Camp participants receive some assistance from Spring. So that was 71 children at a cost of $28,000. Spring's cost to send a child to teen camp is more than doubled for 2019. And so that has created a shortfall for our organization that we'd like to see if by doing some increased awareness building and fundraising that we can lessen that gap so that we can respond to the requests that we're receiving. So we're anticipating an estimated budget shortfall of $24,000. So we need your support. And while we know that the board can't do our fundraising for us, you certainly are influencers in the community. You certainly have contact with a lot of people. We're going to launch into a fundraising effort, and we're going to send some appeal letters out. We've already accepted Bob's offer to be featured in the village newsletter. Again, that will expand the reach of Spring to maybe those who don't know about us, or maybe have an interest in perhaps helping a child in need. So we're hoping that that together we can kind of make sure that we can continue our mission of providing what our kids need so that they can participate and grow and develop and become the best that they can be, because that's part of our foundation, it's part of who we are, and it's part of what this great community has always been about. So thank you for your time, and again, if you have any suggestions for us or any way that you can help assist us, we're more than open to work with you.
Well, great. Robin, thank you for everything you have done. Thank you for everything you have done, you and the team, and everything you're going to be doing moving out. The thing that hit me is how many children are benefiting from this program. And it's during an important part of their lives. I mean, some of us, didn't have an opportunity to go to camp when we were young, and this is a big thing, and some of the programs in the recreation department that you're helping with. So it's tremendous what you're doing. I did enjoy the square dance. It was a tremendous amount of fun. Robin told me afterwards, though, don't quit your day job and go into the dance studio business. So, but thank you, Robin, and whatever we can do, we're certainly willing to do to help you. Thanks. Thanks to the team also.
Some of our board members and some of our families here, and I'd like to invite them if they would like to say anything, if that's okay with you. And if
Sure.
not, that's
Anybody
fine.
else? Would anybody else like to comment?
Just ask Robin before you, when you get a chance, can you email that presentation to Liz so that she can distribute it to us?
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes. You want to just state your name and up at the mic?
I'm Judy Sanseverino. I'm one of the English as a new language teachers up at Springhurst. And I just wanted to say that I have firsthand experience with seeing how much the kids actually benefit from these programs. I teach the kindergarten English class, and I see the difference. I've been there almost 20 years, the difference between the kids who now come in having had that preschool experience. It really makes a difference. And also just the after school, what it does for their self-esteem to participate in these programs, and also the connections that it makes among kids and among families. It's just really, they're wonderful advocates. So I just wanted to give my support and my experience.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone else want to come up? No? Thank you all very much. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks. So it's a great program, and if you have the ability to support the program in any way for any amount, please do. It's very helpful to the kids. So while we're talking about
Where can people donate?
Robin, you want to tell them where they can?
People to
There's
donate?
a link, I think,
Yes,
right? That
www.springcommunitypartners.org. And we'll send around our appeal letter, which is ready to go this week, and definitely we'll forward to Liz. One of the things that we wanted to request is if there was anyone a link to Spring on the village website, not just for fundraising purposes, but for members of the community who may need to access.
Yeah,
Be aware of who we are and what we do.
we'll have to,
So that was a question, a follow-up question.
yeah, I put the link in the newsletter.
Yeah.
But
So if there was any, if you go to the village website, that would be helpful. We only exist for Dobbs Ferry residents, so our
Right.
charter is only Dobbs Ferry. So if that would be.
we have other links, I think, right? Yeah,
would-
well,
That's a request that we would like to make.
I would encourage you, when you send the information to Liz, when you send her the presentation, Liz, I think you'll be able to post it on the website as part of the minutes for this. And at the same time, maybe include the link with that, so that it'll be, anyone who sees the presentation will also be able to follow through and click the link.
did you get the newsletter, Robin? Did you get the newsletter? You did, great. So while we're talking about donations, we have some more good news. There was a donor, a family from the community that has come forward with a donation to support the senior center improvements at the new Village Community Center, the Embassy Center, of $25,000. So that's a wonderful donation, and it'll. Yeah, it's an anonymous donation. So thank you to that family that made that donation. So that's great. Now, we're talking about money, Jeff. Jeff Chuda, our treasurer, will cover the village tentative budget for 2019, 2020. Charlene, you're going to join Jeff? Great.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Actually, I'm just going to give an entrance to the real stuff here. So as you know, the 2019-2000 budget is on the village website for your review. Hopefully you have a good time with it. The document, as all our budget, is a 6-month, it's 6 months in making. Well, very quiet. Yes, please make it. Initially, I would like to thank the mayor and trustees for their diligence and sage advice, Ron DeRusso, budget chairman, and budget committee for their hard work, and the individual departments who honed down their wish list to only those items that will benefit the community at large. I most especially want to thank Jeff, our village treasurer, for his dedication to every aspect of good budgeting and good government. He keeps everyone on a straight and narrow, unfailingly producing conservative, no-nonsense, doable budget. Okay, so I'm going to give the good news. The good news is the village kept within the now permanent cap of 2%. And if your assessment did not go up, your taxes will stay the same. Actually, they'll go down a smidgen. Now, that's a technical term for really good. From $6.95 per thousand to $6.92 per thousand. Jeff will go to the slides and talk about particular changes in the budget. Revenue's up, assessment's up, cost of government up, that the village is only 19% of your real property tax. But before he starts, I will give a few macro observations. The rebuilding of the Embassy Center of Gould Park, 99th Street parking lot, Cedar Street parking lot, did not only bring more revenue, but are a testament to a thriving, growing community looking to the future and the care of the residents and involved. The increased assessment, predominantly the results of new construction, regardless of what you think of, say, commercial and residential construction, it adds to a solid property base, which we already have and will continue to keep. And if we do, we keep the current tax rate viable. Sustainable, responsible, and attractive construction in conformance with our vision plan is necessary to continue to grow and attract families to live, shop, eat, and recreate in a vibrant, forward leave Jeff to do the hard work of going through the slides and the micro version of the budget. But I would like to leave you with this, SALT, okay? The inability of New Yorkers to write off their real property taxes is the dark side of the world. It has been considered in this budget and must be in all subsequent budgets. However, the village expects and deserves a certain level of service. To do so, we must be innovative and actively pursue opportunities, which we will do. The village of Dobbs Ferry is changing, and change is good, especially when it is for the better, and I believe it is for the better. That's it. It is yours.
Thank you, Charlie. I think that's really the whole.
Good job.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with. Start with the first slide. This is showing the tax levy change for the past 15 years. This is the implementation of the state's tax cap. The village has complied with that legislation. And again, this year, our budget does comply with tax cap legislation. The legislation, along with recent projects in the business district, Rivertown Square, and the Gateway, Main Street, have had a beneficial effect for our taxpayers. That said, the village has to balance this benefit with the many costly but important services that it provides, such as police, fire, road maintenance, garbage pickup, and things that our residents have come to expect. For 2019-20, the village has proposed to increase the tax levy by 4.97%. This is within the tax cap and tentatively sets the tax levy at $13,935,000. This budget proposes a tentative tax rate of $6.92 per $1,000 of assessed value. Like Cheryl mentioned, it is a slight decrease from last year, about 3 cents per thousand. And again, the difference is largely the result of property assessed valuation increasing by about $100 million this year, which brings the taxable value to just over $2.015 billion. This slide shows taxable value over the past 14 years. The valuation had been trending relatively stable for several years. However, if you look at the past 4 years, we've seen an uptick in valuation. Mostly due again to the recent construction projects going online. In fact, there are about 8 or 9 properties make up about 1/3 of that $100 million taxable assessed valuation increase this year. Excuse me. With this budget in particular, taxpayers will see the benefit of the increased taxable assessment and the effects that the construction projects around the village have had on the tax rate. As I said, the proposed tax levy increase is close to 5%, yet the tax rate per thousand does actually slightly decrease. It is contributed to allowing the village to continue to provide important services at one of the lowest tax rates in the Rivertown. Taxable assessment levels often cause confusion for taxpayers. Change in the taxable assessment level of the village does not automatically affect tax revenue. Tax revenues, tax levy, are based on the budgeting process and not on taxable assessed value. That said, as we mentioned, if your assessment remains the same from last year, this budget will general, new hires have been enrolled in Tier 6 of the retirement system. This tier requires larger contributions from employees for their entire career and a longer time to be eligible to retire. And that translates to a much lower village contribution to the retirement system for those employees. For the upcoming year, we do anticipate a continuation of the trend of healthcare costs upward. However, we have continued to try to contain these costs on the village by getting increased employee contributions towards healthcare into retirement by newer employees through the contract process. The village needs to continue to monitor healthcare costs and to suggest that the Citizens Budget Committee review this expense and try to contain those costs to village taxpayers. This slide shows that people, in the form of personnel and benefits, are the largest cost of a municipality. And it is about 66% of the village's expense is the work that the staff does. This slide shows the allocation of costs basically by department, along with the debt payments and the employee benefits. The next couple of slides are looking at public safety. As you can see, police are the largest portion of the public safety budget. And again, personnel and benefits are the bulk of that expense. These are revenue areas that change other than the tax levy in this budget. We anticipate increases from inspection fees, parking permits, fees from the recreation department, and continued increases in earnings from the New York class investment account. Non-property taxes such as sales tax collection continue to be the village's major revenue source other than the tax levy. We are hopeful that the state passes Westchester County's requested sales tax increase that could help alleviate the upward pressure on the village's tax levy in the coming budgets. The trend of revenue and expenditures does continue upward. Personnel costs, once again, are the large portion of the increase because of contractual cost of living adjustments and the ever-increasing cost of benefits such as health insurance. This slide illustrates the distribution of property taxes within the village. The largest portion of your tax goes from the school district, and close to 65% of your property taxes. Village-provided services such as the police department, snow removal, garbage, etc., are only about 20% of your taxes. The next couple of slides look at the general fund's unreserved fund balance and how it's been trending for the past 16 or so years. Unreserved fund balance is basically the village's savings account for unforeseen circumstances that can occur during the budget year.
That's our rainy day fund,
Yes,
Jeff?
rainy day fund, yep. The village will continue to work hard to keep the unreserved fund balance at a reasonable level and continue to review the board-adopted fund balance policy to ensure that we provide the highest level of service to the taxpayers. In summary, we have proposed a budget that requests an increase in the tax levy. However, it provides for a decrease in the
Great.
I'd
Thank
like
you.
to say a few things to your question and answer. And that is, considering all this, considering that we're keeping the budget pretty much status quo, we have, with, actually at the impetus of the mayor and board of trustees, started new programs. We have traffic, we now have a traffic division, and that is to ensure that the traffic is maintained. There's a lot of people, really speeding, and there's a lot of people not really doing what they're supposed to do. And in light of taking care of the kids who are crossing the street on Broadway, on Clinton, and that, we have a traffic division who really looks to those things and helps the situation. We are, the DPW has immersed itself in composting. They are now working with Sustainable. We are in the midst of starting a program, in fact, there's a contract on the agenda now, starting a program for food scraps that will be, the individual resident will buy at our cost, a container, so they can put in, so it doesn't smell in the kitchen. And they will bring that to the DPW. We will have it collected, I believe, every month. It's a monthly fee, but I think we can have like 3 collections. And that will be expanded possibly within the next year with the help of Greenberg and in conjunction with Greenberg to a door-to-door. So it actually is a very, very, very good way of preserving our environment. This is not for commercial areas, it's only for the residential. And as I said, we will have a new pool and a new embassy center, and I believe you will be very pleased with it. So within the budget, I think we are doing everything we can, both in infrastructure and in services.
Great. Thank you, Charlene. And Jeff, thank you. Thank you to the staff for what they do to try to keep costs down. Thank you to the Citizens Budget Committee for helping us through this process. Ron, thank you. I think we have a great story to tell here. 2 years in a row, the cap we've kept it as low as you possibly can, and this year it's gone down a little. A penny saved is a penny earned, Jeff? So, and we do have some headwinds. Charlene mentioned the tax cap, and the village has stayed within that since the tax cap was originated. There's some other things. So, I think it's a good story. I think everybody's done a good job in pulling this all together. That doesn't mean that we don't need to be prudent and diligent and continuing to make sure that, we try to keep costs down. We can't continue to reduce costs, and we can't increase costs. We have to get revenues through some, like Jeff pointed out, 35% of the assessment came from 8 projects. One of those, I guess, was Rivertown Square, and a few here on Main Street. So we're sort of doing a great job with the tools we've been giving. Any questions? Anybody?
I'd like to make a couple comments, and I've got a question. I think that you guys have done a terrific job, and Jeff, you really are to be commended for managing the expenses of the village in a way that does maintain services. So that's wonderful, and thank you. And I also think the village is very well positioned going forward, which is also a positive for residents. One thing you didn't mention that I think is worth mentioning is the recent Moody's report and rating. And so maybe you could mention that because it is a testimony to the village's financial position and fiscal discipline.
Right, so we recently received the good news that our rating continues to be excellent. In addition to that,
a great job as always, so you'd be commended, all of you. I know it's a tough job when everyone comes asking for money, and you have to be the bad guys, so we appreciate it, and we trust your financial acumen, so great job, guys.
I know it was mentioned before, but I also want to thank the department heads who really keep their requests to absolute necessity. So I want to thank them for helping us to keep the costs down as well.
Jeff, you're being modest when you said Moody's gave us an excellent rating. The rating was a AA2, which is the third highest rating that Moody's gives, and is something that doesn't happen by accident. It's hard work.
Thank you, Larry. In fact, we tried to get it higher, you know, and it said it didn't know.
Yeah, it's,
What to do to get it higher.
some of the wording on it, the key credit factors include a robust financial position, a very strong wealth and income profile, and sizable tax base. And the rating is very favorable in comparing to some of the other municipalities. So thank you.
Go, Jeff. Nice job, guys.
So we now have a public hearing, right? Do I need a motion to? So I'll take a motion to establish the public hearing for the 2019 and 2000, trustee Taylor. Second, trustee DeRossi, all in favor? Unanimous. Courtesy of the floor. Would anybody like to address the board?
No, you have to.
Well, I think you've got to take,
Public hearing, if anyone wants to speak.
Oh, does anybody want to comment on the budget?
On the topic of the budget.
Ron? Sorry, Ron, I should have called you up earlier.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ron Russo. I run the Budget Committee. I'm also on the Sustainable Task Force, so I immerse myself in compost every once in a while. Today, I'm going to immerse myself in the budget. A little bit. Listen, I think it's great that we created a budget that won't increase the tax percentage to our residents for next year. The board, the mayor, along with Charlene and Jeff, have done a great job at making sure that we continue to watch the bottom line while allocating some resources. Thanks to all of you. Each department has also done good work at looking at how they can both be more efficient at their jobs and still provide the same or better level of service to our residents. Again, the Budget Committee thanks you. However, as Jeff mentioned, and he was talking to Charlene as well, that there are a few things we have to consider going forward. As we all know, our revenue base will probably not be expanding much unless the village undertakes significant development in a place where we just don't have the space to do it. You know, places like Rivertown Square, they've been beneficial to the village over the last few years, but they're going to be less so going forward. Our tax base will deteriorate. We're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with regards to SALT and the results of changing demographics to our village. We have to be prepared for this. It's a major concern to the Budget Committee that we have to be more analytical at forecasting our needs going forward in our budgets, more analytical. The trends don't lie. We're going to lose tax revenue going forward, so we have to have savings, as Jeff has shown. We implore each department to look at ways to continue to improve efficiency and minimize additional hiring that has long-term consequences on our budget flexibility. We have to be creative in using technology to make our jobs easier and more efficient. We also have to explore other ways to become more efficient, whether it be outsourcing selectively or through other means. As we become more efficient, we'll see gains that will enable us to reduce costs through attrition and reduce human labor on repetitive tasks. The Budget Committee is here as a resource to the mayor, trustees, and to all of our village employees to help find ways to make our village more affordable. It takes a village to make a budget. Let's all continue to work together to make Dobbsbury an affordable and desirable place to live.
Great.
Thanks, everybody.
Ron, thank you. Thanks, everybody on the Citizens Budget Committee. They do a lot of positive things for the village. And our liaison to the Citizens Budget Committee, Trustee Taylor. Thank you, Trustee. Anybody else like to comment on the budget? No? courtesy of the floor? Oh, I gotta close.
Don't close it, just adjourn it. We'll continue it
We'll adjourn it
till the next
till the
meeting
next meeting.
and give the date of that.
Okay. So we'll adjourn the public hearing until April 23rd, 2019. Do I need a motion?
Yes, it should be a motion.
So we'll take a motion. Trustee Rosillo, second. Trustee Nell, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay to go to courtesy of the floor?
You're dying to do it.
Courtesy of the floor. Would anybody like to make a comment on any other topic? Yes, sir. Just state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Alan Eisner. I live at 15 Pietro Place.
How are you, Alan?
I have some comments and complaints related to Village Code 234. Filming permits. I think the Village Code is woefully inadequate related to commercial filming permits and Dobbs Ferry. That in particular, our Village Code and the age of it is older than many other villages in Westchester and New York State. If you look at the Nyack code related to this, or Shelter Islands code related to this, somewhere between the two of them is a much enhanced village code for a village of our size. Because those codes, unlike ours, allow for public hearing before filming is to take place, and notification to property owners that adjoin or within a certain radius of the filming location. Ours does not. The sole discretion lies with the village administrator to whether or not to issue permits for filming in Dobbs Ferry, and that just doesn't seem very democratic to me. I feel very injured by the filming that takes place on Pietro Place. It impedes my right of way and my right to peaceful use of my property because of the noise and pollution that's generated by the commercial filming crew there. And Dobbs Ferry only makes $1,500 a day, so we're not even getting good tax money for all the stress that I'm put through. And no, my neighbors don't mind it. The film crew pays them off and they're very happy, or pays them for use of their property, but I don't want to rent my property to anybody. I own it, I like it, I just want to be there. And the village isn't compensated for the undue stress on the police department because you have 2 squad cars that are blocking the end of the street while they're filming. And I think there's some disconnect between the police department and the village code as to what it is they're supposed to be enforcing. They're supposed to be providing right-of-way for public use of public land, like our roads. Instead, they block off the public roads to make it easier for the film crews to film. The film crew, according to our own village code, isn't supposed to block public access to public roads at any time. And our code doesn't allow for a public hearing if they want to do so.
Right. All right.
There's no prior notification required, and I think it's particularly unfair.
Right.
In the instance of the filming at Pietro Place during 2019, the permits issued were in violation of Village Code 234-19, Sections A and Section C. No more than 1 permit shall be issued for the same premises for any period of time, for any period in 6 consecutive months. Yet there was a permit issued for filming on March 13th, followed by April 4th of this year. That's in clear violation of the code. Furthermore, Section C states that theatrical lighting should not be used in outdoor blah, 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 except between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. Yet they lit up my world until 10 p.m. and then noisily took down their equipment until after 11 p.m.
Right.
So I feel it's particularly unfair, and according to our current village code, all I can do is complain to the village administrator, and she says, yeah, well, nobody else complained, so I'm going to issue the permit anyway.
Okay, well, listen, I understand what you're addressing here. We'll take a look at it. I'll have the village attorney look at the situation. And do you have that written up in a memo to?
I'm just writing
Yeah,
in the code.
okay.
It's on your website.
As you stated, it's extremely old and definitely needs updating, as you just stated. Then it definitely needs
It's
updating.
1985 code that doesn't allow for, I mean, we don't have a film commission. Many villages have their own film commission where the citizens are appointed to sit on the film commission, just like on the zoning appeals board, where
Right.
prior notices and everything are required. Our film commission should be like our zoning appeals process.
Okay.
Everyone should get a say. Now, I know my neighbors love when they film, but I don't.
Yeah.
I deserve my right to a say about it.
Well, we'll take,
And
we'll take,
Our code is too old.
okay.
And Mr. Prieto, just a clarification to your comment about our police department. The filming crew does pay for our police department
not.
wages. They do.
Yeah, they
Yes,
pay.
do. They do.
It's not on the filming permit, though.
Well,
They
may not
do.
be, but
They
they
do.
do.
The filming and the permits are not, I don't see public access to the permits.
They bill overtime for the police presence for filming.
Yeah,
That isn't on the permit, and so the code is not up to date,
okay.
and it's not public information, to the best of my knowledge, that I could find easily on the village website. Also, permits are not publicly posted, no prior notice is given to residents. It's just a very unfair process.
Well, we'll take a look at the process. We're gonna have the village attorney take a look also, and we'll get back to you. Okay, thank
I
you.
mean, I can suggest other codes, I can make a motion, whatever you would like, but. or
You're
bring a
welcome,
motion
you're
to
welcome
you
to
at a
do
later
that,
meeting.
if you want,
Because
yeah.
there are other codes that are okay, but if, I mean, I would just, in the very least, could we uphold our current code and issue no more permits for this address for 6 months from April 4th, and then stick to at least our current policy?
We'll take a look. We're gonna look at it. Thank you.
Stop at 7 PM? And no more than 3 days of consecutive hell for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Yes, Lee? Lee? Do you want to address them?
Constantine, I was here 2 weeks ago in regards to the noise and the light pollution, and I did send a letter on February 18th, and I have that letter here that's stamped and received by the village. I sent it to the entire board, the village administrator, and the attorney did receive a copy. I would like to know what the results of that letter and my comments of last week. Did each of you read my letter?
I look at it.
You mean the earlier February letter?
Yes.
You're talking about the sound, the noise, yeah.
Actually, may I answer this? I mean, I don't know whether you should be questioned on whether you read my letter, but we did. Administration did. And Ed is on vacation till Thursday, but he informed Regency, and this I'll quote from a email I got. Ed Manley informed Regency of the violations he found at the site. Regency responded, has acknowledged the violation and will work to clear them. If they have not by the end of next week, we'll issue violations. It's the dumpster and with rotting food. I don't know whether it's been cleared up yet, but if it's not by the end of next week, it will be. There is a plumbing trap servicing, which has nothing to do with your letter, but burst this winter and is leaking down to the lot. That needs to be repaired. The bird speakers to ward off the pigeons are too loud. They reach a volume of 65 decibels and are on very short replay cycle. Please lower and adjust the cycle and I will re-inspect. The lighting is over code limit. I had pointed this out to Sabre, and we had an agreement that they turned off every other row. Please let me know if you will do this, or we have to look into alternative solutions like removing some lighting. One existing problem that was holding up Brooklyn's full C of O was window appliques, and that's something else that was not in the letter, but that he's looking at also, so
Great.
that has addressed it.
Thank you.
So the bird noise, when will you be taking care of it?
As I said before, Lee, it will be by the end of next week. Otherwise violations will be issued. I'm not saying that it will be corrected, I am saying that we will attempt to correct them.
Right, because I know that there's no measuring device that has nothing to do with the decibels. If you can hear it 25 feet from the site, then it's a violation. And I have that code and I want to read it here because I think that would help clarify anything so that way everybody at the same time is on the same page. And it says noise that is publicly audible at a distance of 25 feet or more from the source as best that point can be estimated without the use of any distant measuring device during the hours specified shall be prima facie evidence of a violation of this section. And it goes on to say that establishments in violation of this provision may be required by the Board of Trustees to make modifications and alterations for that structure that is causing it. So,
But it sounds like that Ed has asked them to change it, and if they don't change it, then he's gonna issue a violation, and that's what we can do. And so, and right now, Regency has been asked to change it, so that's what we have to wait on.
because I know we called the police department on this as well as the lighting, and they had some issue where they thought about the decibels and stuff like that, but it's not the case. I didn't know if the board administrator was instructing them not to do anything about it either. So, but it's good to know that, it has been addressed, because it is pretty severe, that noise. And likewise, the lighting, and I know Rivertowns did shut it down, however, when Regency came into play, they put them back up and said that if we still complain, they would put some sort of a black curtain, hanging down, and that was never done either. So I hope that everybody is clear on it, as well as the lighting code as well, because it just can't go on. It's been going on for several years now, the lights, and, Ed has known about it for a while, so.
Well,
We're hoping that by 2 weeks of the next meeting that it's resolved.
Well, Lee, what she says is that she reported it as she's supposed to, and I know that I owe you a visit over there myself, because I wanted to go down myself. So Ed went down physically, did an inspection. As you can hear, there were additional things that he found, and all of them were reported to Regency Rivertown Square. So now they need to comply, and if they don't, then definitely gonna be fines. But from our end, after you came to us numerous of time, this is what we can do, and then from here, this is the first step. And that's the most important step. So then from here, then it will be violation after violation if they don't comply.
Yes, and Mara is quite correct, but it may not be resolved. I
Right.
cannot promise a resolution, and I believe I stated that. I can only say that we will work with Regency to try to improve it, and if they do not improve it, we will issue a violation.
Right, and I don't know if the word improved is subjective to their liking, but it has to go by the code.
Yes?
But that's what Ed
That's
enforces,
right.
so.
And Ed is charged with enforcing the code, and so that's why he went immediately down and did the inspection. We have a list of violations, and there's a deadline. You have to give an opportunity for them to comply.
Of course, we have
So,
been speaking
yeah.
about this for quite some time, not just that letter, but well before that. And did you all get to listen to the video of the bird?
I've heard him in real life.
I heard that.
I've been there a million times, so I've heard it. And I don't know if it's true that the police were, I can't, we don't have to hear it now.
Yeah,
So-
thank you.
Listen to it for 24
Well,
hours a day for the last
but we don't have to
6
listen to it at all, so, and I don't think it's accurate that the police were told not to do anything when they got there. So you understand what our actions
Yeah.
were, and we'll see what happens. Thanks.
Okay, I thank you for that.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, this is a
Anybody else?
I don't know, if anybody else? No?
All right.
We have 100 Main Street. This was referred to us by the planning board, and I guess there's been multiple designs that they've reviewed, and the planning board basically are our experts in this area. And it looks like they've come up with some type of design to save the garage in the rear of the property, which, not necessarily historic, but it has a historic feel for the neighborhood. At the same time, it would clean up the center of the lot, but the applicant wants to increase it to a 4th level. Rob Lane was here from the planning board at the last meeting. And I think Steve, yeah, Steve. It's hard for me to see, sorry. Steve is back here. Steve, I don't know if you want to make a comment on this, but, you know, as far as the design, from my perspective, looks, you know, looks
Mayor?
good, but I look to the planning board.
Excuse me, Mayor, may I just, there's been some discussion about scheduling a site visit. And the site visit, because it will include a quorum of your board and perhaps members of the planning board as well. Once a date is set, certain, we'll be publishing a public notice that meeting, that joint meeting, will be held at the property. So if the chairman could provide you with any assistance on what to expect at the site, specifically things that they should look at, or from points of perspective that I'm sure that would be helpful to you going forward once the site visit is set. So we won't be finishing this tonight and sending it back to the planning board because we would like to get the site visit scheduled and published as a public meeting.
I think the site visit would be excellent for the board to go out and really take a look at maybe the last 2 designs.
I think that a site visit would be very helpful. Our board and the Architect Review Board has found that to be very useful in the past on many projects, and I think it's a great idea, particularly in this case. Other than that, the letter that was sent for your last meeting, I think is the way we feel about this, and so we will work with the village board and the Architects Review Board, if that's all right, to have them join us for a site visit and put out some dates if we can see if we can find them.
Right. Well, hopefully we could do it before the next board meeting on the 23rd. That would be great.
Yeah,
And
we need to get the right timing for that. So.
right.
He needs to do a doodle.
This, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That'd
with
be
an
great.
opportunity to provide the public notice in the newspaper, so we'll get that.
So this would be a public meeting.
Yes, it will be. Public has to be invited. There's no opportunity for public comment at that time. It's not a hearing, but because it includes a quorum of this board and the planning board, and so it needs to meet the obligations of the open meetings law. So
Great.
Liz and I will work to make sure that the notice is published, and once I have a date. So the important question is a date that will work for all of you.
What's the last date before the next meeting that this could be?
Well, 23rd is our last meeting.
publication is
Publication is on Fridays, so,
We'd have to have a date by this Friday.
we're not gonna make this Friday.
For a date? To announce it?
For a publication. May or may not be able to. I mean, deadline's Monday for us to get stuff into the paper for a publication on Friday, so.
So we still could do it before
Not
The
this
tw-
weekend, but next weekend.
next week.
weekend's
Yeah.
Easter.
But then
Cool.
publication would be on the 19th, so
I'm
the
not
meeting would
attending.
have to be at some point after the
Keep-
19th, but yet you want it before the 23rd,
You
so,
were talking about weekends anyway.
so I don't know if Lori Lee had. if
Well,
there's-
keeping in mind, this would be a special meeting of the board, so the requirements are not as mandatory and as strict as those if it was a regular meeting of the board. So a special meeting of the board would require posting in the obvious places on your bulletin boards, putting it on your website, making the information available to the public as best you can. So just keeping, a public notice of a special meeting isn't a requirement, and it's not mandatory under the statute. But getting that date as soon as possible and getting that information out to the public as soon as possible is a requirement, so.
We should push for the Okay, great,
So
thank you.
just to let the public know, there may or may not be enough time to get a public notice published, but again, it's not a requirement, it's not fatal to the meeting, since it is a special meeting of the board.
Okay,
Does April 20 sound like a date that could work? It's a Saturday, and I think we would have time to get a notice.
It's Easter Saturday.
That's Easter Saturday.
that's,
I-
yeah,
I can tell you it does not work for me.
It does work for me.
I'm okay with the two.
We can figure this out offline.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let's circulate some.
We'll make a doodle,
Yeah.
a little form online.
It
Have you
could-
done that yet? It's fun, it's fun. You're gonna love it.
We
That
do
should-
have, we
that
do have
should work for
length in
me.
daylight, so it's possible that they could do it in an evening, at an
Yeah,
evening.
a 6
period as
o'clock or
well.
6:30.
So let's circulate, and we'll get the information out as soon as possible. Again, it's not fatal if we don't publish it. It's not mandatory to
And then we
publish
can
it.
go into more discussion of it after that at the next
Correct.
meeting.
You would go for purposes of educating yourselves, and then you would put it on for the 23rd as another discussion opportunity. And that's
Okay.
when you would discuss amongst yourselves and provide some guidance to the planning board. Sure.
great, great. That's good, Steve? Good, thank you. I think it'll be beneficial to really see the impact of these. Yeah, thanks. Okay, we have the folks from Cabrini.
It's not a hearing.
Yeah,
No,
There is no
we're
public
not.
hearing.
there is no public hearing.
But
It's not a public hearing.
yeah, this
No.
is an informal discussion because the design has changed. So a public hearing will be coming after the planning board finishes and sends it back. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to introduce yourself? And we're talking about the Cabrini, and this is a parking lot on the southeast corner?
My name is Ralph Perigin. I'm a senior project manager with the firm Provident Design Engineering. I have with me Carmen Giuliano from the Cabrini Nursing Home. So what we're proposing, and we've made an application to this board for site plan approval, and at the same time, we also copied the site plan package to the planning board. So submissions to both boards have been made. So what we're proposing for Cabrini is placing 25-car parking in the southeast corner of their existing site, which is the area on the fronting Broadway and the adjacent parcel to the south would be St. Christopher's property. So what we've done is set the parking lot in that area because that area is naturally lower than Broadway, so it's set down in the opposite side. And what we, in addition, and I'll point it out here. So we have Broadway and St. Christopher's are new lots in this area. We've provided a turnaround area here so that cars that come into the parking lot, if they find no space, they can get back to the lot. In addition, what we've done here is there's 4 existing spaces that project underneath the overhang of the building. The fire department advised several years ago that those spaces could not be used without a fire suppression system. So those parking spaces have not been usable to this point. So what we've done is we've eliminated them and placed a couple of few parallel parking spaces adjacent to the building, which would meet the building. So in essence, we provided 25 new parking spaces. And this is to provide basically a shift change at certain times of the day. Shift changes especially, what they're finding is there's no lack of parking in the southern lot, which is the complete lot.
So currently, right now, that is all grass and trees, is that correct?
Well, right now it is a grass area with one spruce tree or pine in the middle there. This is all grass in this area right now. There's one tree sitting here, which is basically a white pine. And there's some trees along the property
Is there any plan to replace the tree?
We have we placed 3 new trees in this area. They're ginkgos. If you're looking for additional, we placed 3 new trees, one's pretty good.
Is there gonna be lighting in this parking lot?
Yes, it's low-level lighting. The poles would be approximately 12 foot high so that you keep the lighting low to the ground.
I think one of the things that would be a concern to the area and the neighbors would be, you know, the idea that it would turn what has been a quiet space into something that, you know, was brightly lit, and where there might be significant activity. What times do shifts change?
There's several shifts. I don't know the exact time of the shifts.
I mean, is it something where people would be coming and going and slamming car door, you know, at
No,
midnight or?
they're parked for 8 hours, 8 to 8.
It's 7 AM, 3 PM, the evening usually is
So they're parked for
3
8
PM.
to
Is this parking for staff or for visitors?
This is parking for staff.
May I strongly suggest that you look at a traffic demand management program, which a lot of the institutions in this area are looking at to try to reduce the amount of cars going in and out of a facility. I know Children's Village is having one, Mercy College has one, and we found that it's been very helpful in reducing the amount of cars in and out of institutions. So that's something you might want to look at. I know there's a train station there. I know, I think 4 different bus lines that go there. People use shuttle. I'm just suggesting that that might be something you want to look at.
And the facility does have a bus stop right in front of it, and a lot of employees do come to the bus station for transportation. But
Where are the folks parking now that are gonna be using that lot?
hate to say it.
On the street?
No.
No?
There's several parking on the street, and there are, and again, I hate to say it, but there are a few people parking in areas of the south parking lot that are blocking aisles, and it's something that would, to bring this try and change and get them out of there, so make it a safe environment for, police and fire protection.
Is there only one entrance and exit?
There's
On-
one, yes, one entrance and exit.
So that's on the whole property, there's only one?
And that's not gonna change, nor would the overall volume of cars change?
No, the overall volume is not changing. This is, the people are coming in here now, so what we're trying to do is get spaces in and out of aisles and parking in all the parking spaces.
Do you know what's immediately adjacent to the proposed parking lot on the St. Chris property?
There's a small residence there. I don't know what it's used for. It's not a cottage, it's good. I don't know what that residence is used for.
We don't have to have the answer at this
I have it
moment.
right here. I can show you the aerial photograph.
It's more that, I'd like to know if there's been, if you're in discussions with them over this, and they know that you're proposing this, and how that would impact them, if at all.
Notice it went out for all of this on the property owners. So it knows, so we'll, everybody's advised of this.
Has anybody from, you were talking about St. Christopher's? There's been no discussion from anybody from St. Chris? They were looking, because they only have one entrance and exit. They were talking going back a little bit about an emergency situation that could possibly occur, blocking either Cabrini's exit from the property or St. Christopher's. Bless you. And, that seems to be right on the property line.
You're asking if there's an ability to make some type of emergency crossover here?
Well, your property, you're right on their property.
And I understand what you're saying. You're trying to say that is there an ability, but I'm not sure. I have to look at the emergency situation. You're asking if there's an ability to make some type of emergency connection.
Right.
Between the two properties for use of emergency planning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if St. Christopher's entrance an exit was blocked because it's an emergency, yeah.
Not on a daily basis.
Right.
I'd have to speak to my client and see if there's that, if that would, I'd have to speak to them and see.
Okay, good.
Possibly, I'm not sure how we would do it.
How many spaces in total is it gonna be built? Or is it looking to be built?
So the new parking lot is 25 spaces. So what we've done is we've added, so this new parking lot is 25. We add, since these 4 spaces were never counted in the original, so we added 2 spaces here and 1 lost one here to place a handicap accessible space at this location.
And the only location that was identified is the front section of the property?
We did look at several other alternatives. Back of the property towards the railroad, it is impossible to build on, it's very steep slopes. We wouldn't want to disturb those slopes either. The area to the north, there's an area to the north over by the intersection with, I forget that side street, apologize. That area would be very, would be visible from the street, from Broadway, if we parked up there. And would also require much more grading and the lighting would be at a higher level, so it would be much more visible in that area.
So you're saying what you're proposing is not visible from Broadway?
No, I'm saying it's less. I'm saying it's not less.
I don't know,
All I'm
I
saying
tend to
is-
disagree with that, Steve, because looking at what I am looking at, and I'm very familiar with your property, and I love the space that you are considering. So I don't know why I find it that on the, much of the beginning part of the property, which is adjacent to Livingston, it seems to me that it will be a more appropriate location than the one being proposed, just my.
We did investigate that area, the grading was much deeper, we have to excavate approximately 5 feet of rock in that area, because it's big rock out there.
Okay.
Is that the only reason then? Because I would just, I mean, presumably that would just mean it cost you more money.
It'd be more expensive, it would be at a higher elevation. It would sit, the parking lot would sit about just a couple of feet below Broadway at that location, rather than in here where this area is set down about 5 to 6 feet below Broadway.
And is this area currently used for like residents and visitors? Because I drive by there or walk by and there's people outside with their,
The area proposed in the parking lot is not used currently for any purpose other than green space.
It just brings a beautiful view to the street, to the
Yeah.
property, to the village.
and how much would it be to make the back parking lot compliant with the fire code?
There's no room there to expand the parking lot.
Just 4 spots.
Make the lane smaller?
It was, I thought, so I misunderstood. I thought it was more than that, but it required additional action.
Yeah, I thought it was 4 spots, right?
No, they thought they converted it into 4 spots.
Compact them, make them smaller.
Sorry,
What-
What I'm saying is these 4 spots, what I said was these 4 spots are not usable due to fire conditions. So what we did was remove them and added 2 parallel spaces here to comply with fire.
So this is really, I mean, this is going to the planning board for them to make the call, and it's just our job to tell you what our thoughts are, right? And give,
Yeah, we're gonna refer it to the
no,
planning
it's
board.
already been back.
But we'll include our thoughts on
Right.
the process.
I'm just looking, I'm having a hard time seeing that probably because there's a screen behind it. It's not, it's your, it's fine, but I'm looking at the picture you submitted to us. And there's this whole parking area here. Is that where are the 4 spots you're talking about that you converted to 2?
Those 4 spots, you won't be able to see them because they're below the elevated building right now.
Oh, okay.
So
So, but the parking then that has all these cars in it, that's all being used. Is that staff parking?
that's staff parking.
And what's this parking over on this side? Is that,
It's staff plus visitor.
Visitor
Plus
parking,
visitor.
yeah.
There's
so
20
you already have 2 lots. How many staff spots do you have already?
I'd have to check the numbers, I don't have them with me, but there's 20 visitor spaces in that northern lot that are designated.
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
our biggest concern is that there's what happens at Broadway and what it does to taking away green space, right?
That's why I say use the transit demand management. 'cause
Right, and if there's any way to not be adding parking spots and to just have less cars, right? That
I
would be
mean, I
nice.
wonder what kind of analysis they have done in terms of the, you know, the way that it shift from, you know, the shift of the employees working there, the number of employees that you have, the visitors that you have, because you seem to have plenty and amply of a space in terms of parking. I mean, looking at this picture, now, you know, the picture presented here has all of the parking spaces covered, but I actually run on Broadway, and I have never seen the lot completely full like this at one given time. So I just wonder if there is other alternatives to consider.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure we can, you know, get to a conclusion on that tonight. I think,
This is things to.
yeah, this is things we'll pass along to
What we think.
the planning board, and we'll let them take a look at this. Steve, you're paying attention. And Anna, sorry, Anna. Anyway.
May I ask one question?
Yes,
though?
go ahead.
Has there been an increase in activity or whatever services you give, that you have now an increase of employees? Have there been more, have you hired more employees?
No, this is just
Just more cars?
more visitors is basically what's.
So, but you said it was going to be for the,
This is for employees, but what has happened,
and then you're going to release all the others for visitors?
there's 20 designated parking spaces for visitors.
Right.
now, Which is, we're finding that is adequate, but that took away from employee parking by designating them for visitors. So now the employees are parking in these areas that we consider non-parking.
So they've always been insufficient?
I can't speak to that.
My question really revolves around, do you have more employees now? Why is the necessity for more parking spaces?
As I understand it, there's no additional employees. that have to speak to it.
So it's always been an adequate amount for employees? No, I'm just asking.
Okay, we'll check that out, and we'll refer that to the planning board. Yeah, so I'll take,
It's already with the planning board.
No, we have.
Motion.
To refer. It's not, we
They have
refer.
it, but they
It's
have-
not
we're
worded
gonna,
properly.
Lori Lee, we'll take a motion to refer it to the planning board
Yes, with the comments that
with the comments that we made tonight.
from the.
Do I have a motion? Trustee Nell, second trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Oh, I had that question too, because I saw the coastal waters and you're so close to the riverfront, but
Last I'm asking, is there any secret motions that would be taken at this time, designating the agency, anything like that?
Well, have we seen an EAF? I haven't even looked at
I
the
have
packet.
submitted an EAF.
I didn't,
I just received this evening.
I didn't bring that back.
Sir, our attorney, our land use attorney will look at it and get back to you.
I'm not the land use attorney. Dan Posen. He represents the planning board. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Ralph. Okay. I'd like to consider a motion to authorize the village administrator to sign an agreement with Suburban Carting Company for food scrap compost pickup for a monthly rate of $400. You have anything else, Charlene, you want to add?
No, actually, I talked about the compost.
So this is a drop off. Residents can now, you guys. So now residents can bring their compost bins to the DPW, which is over by Rivertown Square, and drop it off in there.
Yes,
That's what this
and-
would be.
And there is a flyer we're waiting for some of the bins. There's a flyer that's going out that will explain everything, the cost, and where to drop it off and when to drop it off. And Sustainable, we've been working with Sustainable, and we'll have that out in, I believe, a week. It's a matter of, we can't start the program unless we have the bins.
Yeah, Charlene and I, members from the DPW on a Sustainable, went to Scarsdale, this was a couple months ago, to look at their program. It really is fascinating, it's great, it's a great program, it's very easily done.
And the bin, or the things, the $20, $25,
Oh,
whatever
they're
they
really
are?
cool.
Are we selling them at Village Hall, or do they
No,
sell to go
we're
to
selling
Greenberg?
them, everything's at DPW.
Oh, but DPW here, like people in Dodson
Yeah.
buy
Yeah,
it here?
yes, oh, yeah.
Oh, cool, so we don't have to go to Greenberg to buy
No,
those
no,
anymore?
No,
not
the
anymore.
little containers,
Yeah, I have
at the
them.
top, then there's a
But you
bigger
don't need new
container
ones,
with
Christy, you
everything.
can use your old ones.
I wouldn't buy
Or-
a new one. I'm good, got 2 sets.
All right, there you go.
Okay. So did we complete that motion? I think we completed it. Trustee Nell, second trustee Taylor, all in favor? Unanimous.
I just want to say kudos for bringing that with the Sustainability Committee. I'm really excited about having composting again.
No.
I didn't like the idea of going to Greenberg.
Consider a motion to authorize the police chief to sign the annual agreement with the County of Westchester for the Stop DWI New York Enforcement Crackdown Reimbursement Program and Drug Recognition Expert, DRE Reimbursement Program.
This is for a reimbursement for up to $10,000 for the police when they do, stops
Right.
for the county police.
They pay the overtime.
Yeah,
Okay.
Up to 10,000?
up to 10,000.
Okay.
And this is on most of the major holidays, right?
Wherever wherever
Whenever
they're
they-
having those
yeah.
stops.
Well, you're right, they have it listed. so-
They have a
Yeah.
list of the
They
holidays.
have it listed, and also they have the dates when they do use
So
them.
that's a little bit of a warning
So we're not
for,
gonna tell anybody right now.
yeah.
It's just between you and us.
Okay, so do I have a motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosillo, all in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to approve a request. Is Frank's here? Frank is here. From Frank Farrington, President of the Historical Society, to hold the annual Road to Freedom on Sunday, August 18th, 2019. Frank, you'd like to say a few words? Thank you.
Mayor, thank you for the introduction. Frank Farrington, 89 Ashford Avenue. I'm here for our annual request for the 14th annual Road to Freedom, given by the Historical Society with the cooperation of the Village of Doxbury. It was started 14 years ago by Linda and Richard Borkow, and it really commemorates two important points, turning points of the Revolutionary War. One, the night before, they sent an expedition. Can you hear Paulina?
Yeah.
Expeditionary force across the river as a deterrent to kind of fool the British into thinking that the attack was going to be on New York. Later, the next morning, a massive amount of troops came down Ashford Avenue and made a right turn off Broadway, and they crossed further north, deceiving the British and marched all the way down to Yorktown, Virginia, which was the culminating battle of the war. So they've done that now for 14 years. And what it is too, the march itself is one facet, but it's a segue into a little bit of taste of colonial life at that time. So the event starts at Gould Park and a march through the streets, Ashford Avenue. Most of the civilians are on the sidewalk. And we stop briefly for memorial service at White Church Cemetery, down to the corner of Broadway and Ashford. The right turn across the street, going north to the village border and cutting in along the Cronack south, which is fairly close to our property for really the program. So part and parcel with that is just a couple other things we just want to touch base on. We usually have a proclamation for the village, which they are very gracious of presenting every year. Excuse me. DPW has been very helpful with some signage in the intersection. In fact, we purchased some banners that just designates and calls the attention that the Road to Freedom is coming. So it really makes the intersection look good for those 2 or 3 weeks that are up.
Yeah.
We get great cooperation from Forward Trez on that.
Great.
Before I leave anything else, you want to add something? we work with a lot of the village staff, especially Liz, on a lot of things, so, rather than get too specific, I was asking for the permission. You want to speak before they give formal permission? Linda?
I just want to add one small note. The significance of this historic event. This is a very significant event in the history of our country, which is very under-recognized, and that's why the Historical Society has, tried to designate it as important and have a annual event based on it. And in 2013, we put a monument, which is at the Little White Church Cemetery, to commemorate this important event. And the reason why it is significant is because Washington and his army were camped in this area, Dobbs Ferry and Ardsley, and they started on they massed their army in the vicinity of Ashford Avenue and Broadway, and had what was called a parade for the march, going to Yorktown. So this could be considered the start of the Yorktown campaign, because the army started from here, and the decision was made in this encampment during the time they were here to pursue that as their strategy. Most history books will say that Washington's army was camped up north of New York. And part of the confusion is that the area at that time was all called Phillipsburg. And the historians weren't conscientious enough to try and figure out where Phillipsburg was. But Phillipsburg was here. We have a map from one of Rochambeau's officers from 1781 showing exactly where the pieces of the encampment were. And you can clearly see Broadway and Ashford Avenue on it. So I just wanted to, and some of you have been to our events, so you know this, but some of you haven't yet. So I just want everybody to appreciate the historic significance.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks, Dr. Borko.
It's great fun.
I'll be done. We just want to thank the board. Last year, we received interpretive panels many years ago. They were in the DPW garage. We were trying to find a place actually to put them. I guess with the renovation of Waterfront Park and all that. Well, thanks to DPW, former Gardner and the staff, they were installed near the shoreline, pretty close to probably where the expeditionary force
Took off.
The night before. So we had a nice little ceremony last year on July 4th, and we thank everybody that came. It was pretty nice. And I guess the last thing I wanted to say is it's probably one thing I'm going to forget. I just always say thank God for electricity, but back in 1781, I'm glad there wasn't, because there'd still be troops at that red light. But it's a nice event. And Bill O'Reilly's book called Killing England, I forget what chapter, but he postmarks each chapter. That was for New York, and the next phrase is Washington's on march. So that's, at least
That's pretty good.
Pay attention to that. So at that point, I'd like to formally request the village support to have permitted us to have the 14th annual Road to Freedom.
Great. Thanks, Fred. Frank, great job with that.
Questions, I'm here.
Do you guys have
Yeah.
big plans for 2025, right? That's
Excuse me?
Do you have big plans for 2025?
What's 2025?
Isn't that the
It's the
big,
anniversary.
the big anniversary?
It hasn't been formula this year.
Here's my question to you. Do you have any big plans for 2023? You know what that is?
2023?
That's the Sesame Centennial of Dobbs Ferry.
Oh, yeah. Woo,
I
what
was
are we
there
gonna
for
do?
Centennial, tremendous community event, so something to think about.
Party.
That's 2 years before, put the pressure on us. Put the
FESTA
pressure back.
2023.
I just want to say, I've been the last 2 years, and it really is a great learning experience and learning the rich history of Dobbs Ferry. I would just encourage maybe to ask Kendra or somebody else if you could borrow the microphone, because I feel like the last 2 years, the microphone fell out, and it was hard to hear at the cemetery and at Gould Park. And I think we have a portable one, so I would encourage the village to let you use it that day. That's all.
We used the recreation one for the July 4th ceremony,
Yeah.
and it was very supportive there, so maybe we went, think of doing that this year,
Yeah.
which is great.
I'll tell you, I think my kids were in the first one, I think, and they still remember their lines to General Rochambeau. So they still talk about it, so it was great.
This
Well,
year,
that-
I think we have Mayor Anthony Wayne coming this year as a guest. He led the bayonet charge up at the Stony Point, so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's playing. Patty, you will be able to.
Was a lot of fun. And thanks,
Are
thank,
there any other
Thanks. You want to just talk a little bit about the Memorial Day Parade?
If you want.
Yeah, why don't you say a few words about that?
Myself and Ed Hennessy are working with the mayor and Bill Florin and Scotty Shevlin on Memorial Day Parade. As it stands now, it's the traditional Memorial Day. Now it's the Monday, which is the 27th. As of now, we moved the parade back 1 hour to 11 o'clock. We're hopeful that people coming back from their Memorial Day vacation may have able to make some time because they're back early enough to participate or at least view the parade. We have a band, and we're working on maybe another one. And we're trying to get more organizations. We'll probably have a letter going out to various organizations, Historical Society being one, possibly the Embassy Club, the preschools, the nursery schools, just to get more people out and participate. I marched in that parade as a trustee of Cub Scout, Little League, and whatever. So I think that's a good point, because they thought the traditions get passed on. And we have a special grand marshal this year. She's sitting right over there. She's not a former Marine, but she's always a Marine. Liz Draper will be our grand marshal this year.
Hey, Liz.
And I think what we're trying to do is keep it fairly simple, but the same stops at White Church Cemetery, the high school, and maybe you can talk about what you want to do there. The brief stop at the Episcopal Church, Zion Episcopal, for bell ringing. As of now, we're going to talk about a brief stop at the at Memorial Park, rather than any parade there. We'll just process down the hill a little bit, end at the overpass, reassemble in Memorial Park, Waterfront Park. We're not sure exactly where yet. And possibly have a little bouquet ceremony into the river for the sailors that were lost at sea. That was done many years ago. I'd like to bring that tradition back. And that'll segue, again, weather permitting, to where we have our hot dogs and refreshments, either in the Willow Point or the main park section. So hopefully, weather permitting, will be a nice day, and we'll try to make it a memorable event.
The other thing with speeches, et cetera, we were going to concentrate those at the beginning at the high school, and we thought we'd have more students attend because of that, and the high school band could be there.
High school band, I verbally contacted the superintendent. I'll send her an email just to make sure they're available. So
Great.
It depends on a holiday weekend. They were great last year, so the more the merrier, so to
Yeah,
speak.
that's
Fire
great.
department will be involved, and they are in the process of trying to get hold of the band. The thing is, year to year, that a lot of bands are committed, but we did get one this year for S band. So.
And the local development corporation did approve the expenditure for the one band, so
That's great.
that's great.
Yeah, the fire department will pick up if they have one, they'll pick up the cost of the other band. So we're not trying to impact the village.
And we'll also have the new fire equipment, the new trucks, right? That will.
Yes, we have, next, I think, sometime this week, there'll be a new tower ladder coming in.
Right.
Which will complement the new engine up at the Ashford Avenue, and the newer, not so new, but pretty new now, the engine down below here. So the fleet was getting old, so Chief Chris tonight came up with a plan, and the village board supported it, so we've replenished most of our stock now, so.
Great.
And it should be, again, weather permitting, a nice day to display them all.
That's great, Frank. Thanks for everything you've done. And Linda and Dr. Borko, the Historical Society has done, I mean, all the memorials, working with the village and school have been upgraded, and many other things. So keep up the great work.
Yeah, I think
Thank
we
you.
covered the Memorial Day, I think the Leaving the Out we've been talking about it, so.
Yeah, I think we
So
covered.
hopefully we'll try to get some information out and publicize it, and we'll get a little bit of turnout. I always think Memorial Day is a good day in a sense because it's half-mast till noon, obviously we can remember, and then it goes to full staff. So afternoon, we should enjoy the things that America's all about.
Right.
Honor those that gave their lives. So
Yeah.
on that note, I'll thank you all, and I appreciate any support, and think about 2023.
Sounds good. Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, I don't know, should I be here for the motion, right?
No, we're doing it.
Yeah. We'll take a trustee Nell, second. Trustee Vazillo, all in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, Frank. Consider a resolution declaring April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day in the village of Dobbs Ferry. Motion? Trustee DeRozzi, second. Trustee Sullivan, all in favor? Unanimous. We also have, I think, Liz, we have the tree is growing at the library on that day, don't we? Is it the 26th of April? That they have the children that did artworks and word works and things like that. So that'll be a big event also.
There's actually a resolution that we're supposed to, I think that's instead of the motion, it's the resolution. So I don't know, we don't have to read the resolution, right? We can just,
We could just,
right.
This is also in keeping with Dobbs Ferry being named a tree city. This is one of the requirements for that, is to have an Arbor Day every year, so.
That's good. Consider a motion to approve orders number 1 and number 2 for April 2019 as recommended by the village treasurer. Jeff, do you have any comment?
No comment.
Trustee Taylor? Motion?
Make a motion.
Second. Trustee Rosillo? All in favor? Unanimous. Consider a resolution approving additional tax certiorari settlement refunds due to petitioner 110-150 Drapers Owners Corporation for property located at 110-150 Draper Lane. Motion?
Do you want any explanation about it?
Yeah, where did this come from? Is this Mr. Danko?
Yes, Mr. Danko did prepare this. This should have been done a while ago. There was a error in the numbers that were given to us, and so this is a correction of that.
So this is an additional $11,558.87.
Yes,
Which covers the years 2011 to 2017.
yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Trustee Rosillo, second. Deputy Mayor Cassell, all in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to approve a request from Superintendent Lisa Brady, Dobbs Ferry School District, to hang a banner for the school budget vote 2 weeks prior to May 21st, 2019. Motion? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Nell, all in favor? Unanimous. Consider a motion to approve a request from Ms. Nicole Minor to place a campaign sign for the Board of Education election for the Ardsley Union Free School District on Ashford Avenue at the intersection of Southfield Avenue at Steiner Place from April 22nd, 2019 to May 22nd, 2019. Motion? Trustee Nell, second. Trustee Rosillo. All in favor? Consider a motion to approve a request from Ms. Yvonne Deacons to place a banner for the Dobbs Ferry Schools Foundation Gala at the Main Street intersection at Gould Park Fence from April 10th, 2019 to May 11th, 2019. Motion? Trustee Nell, second. Deputy Mayor Cassell. All in favor? Unanimous. Minutes from March 26th, 2019. Any comments? We don't need a motion, right? Lori
Yes,
Ray?
you need a motion.
We need a motion.
Yeah,
You just don't have to be here.
you just don't, you don't have to have been present.
Okay.
The board decided they want to continue with adopting these in final, so, yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion? Trustee Nell, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor?
I'm abstaining.
You were absent on that?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So it's 6-0. Reports and announcements. Trustee DeRossi?
I don't have any.
Nothing? How are youth services doing?
Very
Good? Beautification?
We need more volunteers. I think that Christy and I sound like broken records, so we want more volunteers, but at least the Youth Service Council is doing fantastic. Those guys keep rocking it. I can't wait to see the public announcement that the kids made. I don't have news that it has been returned to us yet, but they did such a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Great, thank you, Trustee. Trustee Nell?
Chamber of Commerce is having a women's social, women's networking event on Thursday, this Thursday at 7 o'clock at HUDCO. It's a co-working space. Where is that? This is co-working space in Dobbs Ferry. It's at 145 Palisade. Visit them on Facebook to buy tickets. And then, yeah, that's it for the chamber for now. We need volunteers for all of our boards and committees, specifically beautification. We have a spot on AHRB, CAB. Nominating committee can always use more people, so volunteer now.
Great.
Topsferry.com.
Thank you, trustee. Trustee Sullivan?
So on May 4th, the library is holding the first annual, I shouldn't say annual, the first ever FerryCon. It's like a Comic-Con for Dobbs Ferry, and it's May the 4th be with you. Yeah, so I think it's coming from 10 to 8, I believe, and there's signs posted around. You can go to their website and find out more information, but everyone there is really excited about it, and it promises to be a great event for activities for kids of all ages. And the Little League Parade will be April 27th. That's all I have.
I forgot
Great.
something. Can I go again?
Yeah.
Downtown Improvement Task Force, they're gonna be coming to us next meeting
Next
to
meeting.
present the data findings from their survey that they sent out. They got like 950 responses, which is like
That's
10%
amazing.
of the Dobbs Ferry population. So that's really good for us to have that kind of feedback from our residents. And they're gonna be presenting that to us next time, and then the following, they'll be presenting recommendations for trying to help our downtown, just based on those responses and more.
Excellent. Trustee Rizzo?
I don't have anything.
Trustee Taylor?
I don't have anything.
Deputy Mayor? Nothing.
No, I would
Oh,
encourage people that the day camp and teen camp is still accepting registrations, so I believe the pool will be open in time for camp, and so people should register.
That's great. I don't know if I said it earlier, but we did start digging
You did say it, yeah.
the pool. So that's great news, and we hope to have that open by July 1st. Camp will start that following week. So I bought a new bathing suit, by the way. for that.
I got my daughter
I feel like that's TMI, I'm just gonna say it.
Anyway, I want to thank Recreation Department for the hunt. We had the egg hunt this weekend. It was very well attended. I don't know if they,
The waterfront, how did that
the
go?
waterfront was
So jealous I didn't get to
unbelievable.
go.
And the Recreation Department put 4,000 eggs together. Not quite enough.
Never.
They were gone in like 3 minutes, I think.
And they're doing the
That's
flashlight
scary
one
for you.
this Friday night,
Yeah, this
right?
Thursday.
Yeah.
This
Thursday at 8.
Thursday?
That's for the older,
For the older
The
kids,
older
they have a
kids.
flashlight egg hunt.
this Thursday.
And that's at the waterfront
That's
too?
cool, right?
I think it's
Gould
at the
Park.
water, oh, is it at Gould?
Gould
No,
School park.
can't be. Gould Park is closed.
I think
Sad.
that
The other part.
Thought
they
they're
do
doing
it on the
on the
football
football
field, I
field.
think.
Yeah?
I think so.
Yeah,
That's what
okay.
my calendar says.
Okay, and there was we had a library concert this weekend that was very well attended and great music from the 60s and 70s. So we have some great things going on around town. So I need to take a motion, Lori Lee, right, to close the meeting?
You do.
Motion, trustee Nell, second, trustee Taylor, all in favor, unanimous.